Hey, what's up guys? Sean back with another video and how addicts lie to us, particularly the people from fat acceptance or the body positive movement. I think that's who this video is targeted at, and it's a channel called Think Before You Sleep, and it looks like he does a lot of stuff like this, kind of targeted towards that group of people in particular. So yeah, let's check it out and see how they're lying to us exactly.
Down the front there, you who's 20, is your life better? Are you happier? Is everything better now that you're slightly smaller than you were before?
Absolutely, and I'm not a little bit smaller, I'm a lot smaller, and
You gotta love how she's kind of trying to belittle her accomplishments in this situation.
I did do research into everything. I can still have kids, and that may not have happened if I had stayed the size I was. Like, my question to you is, can you honestly say that you are 100% happy and healthy? Like,
also, this is like Virgie Tovar's long lost cousin. I've seen this chick somewhere before. I'm just not quite sure where that was.
you have no medical conditions whatsoever. You have no problems at all with your health.
I think it's really interesting that I feel like I need to justify my existence in this room.
No, but
Just answer the question. You asked her a very condescending question, and now you're trying to avoid the backlash. You can't just throw sand in a kid's face and then cry to the teacher when they defend themselves. Shockingly, the host doesn't let her get out of it and pressures her to respond.
no, but hang on a minute.
From what I've seen, that's kind of their go-to. Like, I'll throw an insult your way, but if you throw something back, you're instantly just invalidating my existence as a person. At least that's what I've seen.
You asked her to justify her decision.
I
and
asked
she's
her if she was
asking-
happy. I didn't ask her to justify what her health issues now, or if there is any.
But have you got any health issues?
No, I'm perfectly
And
happy.
I'd love to know, like, what do you see as healthy with eating?
Yeah, it's interesting that you've just assumed that I eat bad food because
No,
of my
I'd love to
size.
know.
I assume you eat bad food because you're overweight. And if you are exercising or whatever, then you definitely eat bad food. There's some underlying, like, health issues or something that can add to obesity, but most of it's going to be friggin' diet. None of us are stupid. I don't think I got up to 600 pounds by friggin' running marathons and eating, like, kale every damn day. It was a lot of Hostess and a lot of damn cheesecakes, what it was.
It's not an assumption. All the evidence of your behavior is there. It's like telling people that you didn't eat little Timmy's birthday cake when there's still frosting on your mouth that you forgot to clean off. But all right, let's hear her defense for why she's
Little
healthy.
Timmy's
Because if
screwed.
you're really healthy, do you have any joint issues, or so you're
I
completely...
swim 2.5 kilometres a day. I walk, I exercise all the time. I am in a synchronized swimming team, and I really resent the fact that I have to actually.
She's a synchronized swimmer? Don't you? There's no shot this chick is doing that much swimming a day. No, there's Olympic athletes that probably barely swim that much.
Justify my existence and my ability to live in the world in a bigger body.
Okay, but you said nothing about what you eat. You shifted to exercise so you could avoid that question. Why would you be avoiding it if you ate healthy? If she actually ate healthy, she would be jumping to answer that question to dunk on anyone who doubts her. Then, of course, she says I swim. You know what?
I don't think she's dunking is Dunkaroos. I don't think she's going to dunk on anybody, but I get what he's saying.
That's like the easiest form of exercise for obese people because there's less gravity to deal with, and excess fat makes you float better. By the way, I don't believe at all that she swims 2.5 kilometers a day. I don't even...
This guy's not wrong. I'm pretty sure that I can survive at sea just because we tend to float better, or some big-chested women. I'm pretty sure you guys can float for quite a while. But, yeah, no, this chick's tripping.
think she's accomplished that once. I'm not a swimmer, but according to Google, that's like an hour straight of swimming for an average person. If she had the kind of discipline that it takes to do that daily, then she wouldn't have trouble losing weight. But if you were so healthy, then why don't you, like, run for fitness? Do you even walk for fitness? You cut yourself...
I don't think swimming's a bad exercise, buddy, but your knees and stuff like that definitely does hurt when you get on the bigger side. Running's not the best for everybody.
off when you said that word, almost as if it was a lie. You wouldn't lie to us, would you, Kelly Jean Drinkwater? Wait, Kelly Jean Drinkwater?
No
Oh
way.
my god, her stage name is Drinkwater. It's always the fat
Maybe we could change it to Chug Soda.
acceptance advocates who feel the need to constantly virtue signal about drinking water to pretend that they're healthy.
What I eat in a day is a fat person. I then had some more water because I'm skinny and hungover.
I am making a peach ring water. We're starting out with a Sunkist peach packet, and then I'm doing 3 pumps of cherry.
Oh God, water talk even made an appearance in this video. I've seen this before. I know it's like a big thing for bariatric patients to like get into drinking more water by adding all these like I think they're just sucralose sugar and like stuff like that, but yeah, adding this to their water, just drink some regular friggin' water.
I feel like all gummies have some kind of vanilla aspect, so I added 1.5 pumps of vanilla almond. Overall, this water was really good, so like 7 out of 10.
Thin people never have to prove themselves by saying, "Hey guys, I just wanted you to know that I drink water. I don't only drink soda all day." But anyway, these clips of Kelly Jean drink water are from a 2013 Australian broadcast called Fat Fighters. That time period appears to be a wonderful moment in TV history where a mainstream media host actually pushed back on some of the very dumb things that fat acceptance advocates say. Dumb things.
Yeah, you're not going to see that nowadays. You're going to see a lot of hosts just, unless it's like Steve Wilkos yelling at somebody who diddled a kid or something. That's the only time I see it, really.
Things like this.
I just think that how the way the discussion is running is very indicative of the general prevailing attitude towards fatness and the refusal to even accept that potentially there can be other ways of living as in a healthy body.
Yeah, except that scientific.
Also, I wouldn't want to be fat in Australia. You guys have way too many things out there trying to kill you, and I don't think I'm going to get away from a kangaroo trying to disembowel me or anything if I'm overweight. Plus all the damn snakes, spiders, I'm not playing around, man. Australia, you guys got some scary stuff down there.
Untrue. Sure, you can live in a bigger body when you're under 40. As far as I can Google, she was around 400 pounds when this was filmed, but was in her early 30s, so of course she's okay. However, the actual problem is that you don't live nearly as long as a thin person when you're 400 pounds, and you're cutting your life in half so you can eat more poorly made hamburgers from McDonald's.
Pathological behavior is the proclivity to gain in the short term but lose in the medium.
Damn, McDonald's is even catching some strays in this one.
To long run.
Right. That's a simple definition of pathological behavior. It's sacrificing your future for instant gratification or a short-term win. Now, I'm not exactly sure what happened to Kelly because she's been out of the media for a number of years, but eventually she does mention her diet.
I just want to know what are you eating? Like, I just want to know, and I'll tell you what I eat, and we can work out.
So that's what it comes down to. Like what you're saying is incredibly, like, it's such a small equation that you want to know what I eat. I eat salad. I eat meat. I don't eat carbs because they don't agree with me. I eat a lot of fruit and vegetables. I'm primarily vegetarian.
There's carbs in fruit, so that argument is totally null, and she's eating way more than that kind of stuff. Unless she's eating like, what's that name? The banana girl or whatever that was eating like all these damn bananas in a day, like 30? Maybe that's kind of possible.
She says, "I don't eat carbs because they don't agree with me," and then proceeds to virtue signal about how she eats fruits and vegetables, which are full of carbs. Oh my God, she knows so little about food that she thinks the only things that have carbs in them are bread and pasta. And then she calls herself a vegetarian after saying that she eats meat. There's no primarily a vegetarian.
Did she?
You either are a vegetarian or you aren't. Just like with the exercise, I don't believe anything you're saying at all. I've shown plenty of examples on this channel of people her size claiming to eat salad, but they dump like 500 calories of butter or mayonnaise all over it. I mean,
I've seen people like turn their salads into soups, especially my 600-pound life. They're like, I eat salad, and then they're just dumping like half a friggin' bottle of Kraft on it.
Obviously pretending because she only mentions eating things that people perceive to be healthy. I eat salad, but not bread because bread is bad. Also, I watched Forks Over Knives on Netflix last week, so I'm going to say that I'm a vegetarian because that documentary made it sound healthy. No one eats as flawlessly as she pretends to. She's such a bad liar. Personally, though, I would rather pressure her on exercise because it's a lot easier to prove that she's lacking in physical fitness by throwing her against an average thin person in a 1-mile run than it is to monitor everything she eats. But
you can't throw her into a run anyway. She's a swimmer, a synchronized swimmer at that. You put like some Fergalicious on, she'll do a little dance to that thing in the water. Like, make her dance off against somebody like you got serve style in the water.
I cannot stress enough that when fat acceptance advocates say that they don't eat that much, or they say they exclusively eat healthy foods, they are lying. Which brings me to my new favorite obsession, a show called Secret Eaters.
Oh,
I can't believe I only learned about this show recently, because in my opinion, it does an even better job at exposing how much these people eat than my 600-pound life does. The way they do that is by putting cameras all around the house of the people on the show, have private...
Oh yeah, that candid calorie cam, that catches them tripping all the time. Eating all kinds of stuff too, like hidden here, there. they're grabbing this and that during the day, but they only eat 1,600 calories. That's a great show for that.
Investigators follow them everywhere and recruit their family to tattle on them for 5 days. And then when they've told the people being filmed that they stop recording, they continue to record them to see if they were cheating during the time that they knew they were being filmed. Let's see a little bit from an episode with Tracy and Kelly. A different Kelly this
I forgot about the Burger King Black Ops that kind of follow them everywhere and catch them getting fast food and stuff like that.
time.
I'm on my way to visit two lovebirds from Hull, 38-year-old Tracy Williams and 27-year-old Kelly Kane.
Her shirt said, "Keep calm and hug a ginger." I just think that's funny.
Who met 2 years ago at the local cake factory, where they both work.
You've both put on 4 stone?
Yeah. Yeah.
2 stone a year you've put on?
Yeah.
Wow.
2 stone in a year? Holy crap, that's like 28 pounds or 12.7 kilograms in a year.
All right, that's slow playing it by my book, but all right, I see why he's offended by that number. For me, that would have been a good year.
Let me put that in perspective for you of how much food it takes to gain that kind of weight in such a short amount of time. For the past 9 months, I've been bodybuilding. I started out with what's called recomposition, which is a method of gaining muscle that allows you to make gains while either losing weight or maintaining your weight. But honestly, I was already thin and recomposition took too much discipline, so I switched to bulking and cutting. For probably 8 months of that, many times a week, I was absolutely eating way more calories than I needed, even more.
Okay, so this dude probably knows a hell of a lot more about nutrition than anybody on these shows or anybody with the last name Drinkwater, so he's probably got it down pat when it comes to that if he's into bodybuilding that much.
Than the 500 calorie or so daily surplus that's recommended for bulking. Some days I completely stuffed my face, particularly if it was a day where I accidentally waited too long to eat. I put on about 15 pounds in that 8 months, which would be roughly 22 pounds in a year. I'm cutting that weight now and I've already lost about 6 pounds of it, but holy crap. To gain the kind of weight that they gained, they must have been stuffing their faces constantly. However, that's not what they report. They said they eat healthy.
I'm eating like healthy cereals, sometimes strawberry granola, sometimes muesli, eating more salad.
You think you have healthy cereal. Like, there's very few cereals that are actually as healthy as people think they are.
Salads, I get like the light mayonnaise. Well, it's actually extra light mayonnaise.
It doesn't sound like you're eating that much.
When you look at it, it's like, well, why am I so big if I'm not eating that much?
See, I don't eat that bad. I have total cereal for breakfast. Well, first of all, I don't think cereal is healthy at all. Most cereals contain a lot of added sugar, and even if they don't, at best you're eating flavorless processed wheat instead of a natural food. She said her cereal.
That's kind of why I don't really like very many cereals. But if I were going to pick my favorite, it's not a healthy one. It's like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That shit is crack.
Cereal was strawberry flavored, so it probably has added sugar. Also, like I said earlier, she throws mayonnaise on her salad, which destroys the point of eating a salad. I in no way believe that she uses the low-calorie mayo every time she eats salad. Second, it was revealed at the end of the episode that she never actually eats the cereal. She just had it as an option to eat, but actually eats junk food instead. Which means, how do we even know that she eats the salad? Now, while they're filming, they asked the people on the show to make a food diary to get a baseline of how much they think they're eating. Let's see how much Tracy thinks she eats.
We asked the girls to complete a food diary. And according to Tracy's diary, it's a mystery why she's not losing weight.
Yeah. And then they got you on, like, smile, you're on fat camera. Like, it's so funny that they do that, but it's also, it would have to be so invasive. They have to catch people walking around naked, drinking their coffee and stuff in the morning.
She claims a lean average of just over 1,500 calories per day.
And now you might see why I never believe it when obese people report that they don't eat that much. Tracy recorded that she eats 1,500 calories in a day, which cannot be true, because that puts her at a 400 to 500 calorie deficit, meaning that she would be thin if this number was accurate. However, what typically happens is that these people often have no idea how many calories their meals are, and I think that a different episode of Secret Eaters shows that best when they discuss.
I mean, that's definitely true. Also, denial is kind of an easier place to be than taking accountability for all the things you've done wrong, because obviously you've gotten yourself to this point, but kind of deflecting that blame on anywhere else you can and just being like, no, like, I didn't do anything wrong. It just makes it easier to cope, honestly.
That's how many calories this girl's chili dog meal had.
Corrie started a hot dog chili meal with 2 jumbo hot dog rolls, 404 calories. She then added 4 hot dogs, 188.
What's the matter? One wiener wasn't fat enough for you? I thought she, I don't think she liked wieners. All right.
Calories. On top of that, she added some tinned chili con carne, 2 tablespoons of soured cream, 113 calories, reduced fat grated mature cheddar cheese, 211 calories. That
Are we making a hot dog or a grilled cheese? Holy hell. No wonder she's getting bigger. Look at all that stuff on that thing.
brought the total meal to 1,428 calories.
Obese people will often eat these super calorie-dense meals as a snack and have no idea of how much they're actually eating. But when they ask the person who made this meal how she eats, she reports that she eats super healthy. She cooks her own food.
She told me she always cooks healthy, home-cooked meals.
Most of the stuff I eat is quite fresh. Like, I love cooking.
Yeah, she eats those hot dogs and chili fresh out of the can.
Ew, you dumped the hot dog water in there? Don't you guys drain that? Also, ours all come in a pack anyway. If you get me like a canned wiener that's not a Vienna sausage or anything like that, which most people think are gross in the US, I kind of grew up on them, so I like them. But I've also never, I'm going way off. I've never fried them. People tell me you're supposed to fry them. I just eat them cold and nasty. But this is kind of gross.
Again, can you see why I don't trust anything obese people say when they report how healthy they eat? You have Miss Drinkwater from earlier who has no idea what carbohydrates are, and this girl here who calls pouring things out of a can cooking. You didn't make that chili. Someone else did and put it in the can for you.
What are you talking about? That lady puts Gordon Ramsay to shame. Forget all that, my God, I can't remember what that, beef Wellington or whatever. She's got Hot Dog Mountain.
The ridiculous part is that chili isn't even that hard to make. All you have to do is throw ingredients into a crock pot and wait for a few hours. So she basically has no cooking skill. Getting back to the original episode of Secret Eaters, Tracy reported that she eats 1,500 calories in a day. How much does her partner Kelly say she eats?
Kelly's diary shows a calorific intake of almost 2,300 calories a day.
Okay, so Kelly's not totally full of shit is what we're saying. The other lady's more full of it.
Which is more than the typical daily average, but still doesn't explain her huge weight gain.
That's probably a little bit more accurate than her counterpart, but there's no way she gained 28 pounds in a year from eating at a slight calorie surplus. There's information all over this show that suggests that their food diaries are incorrect, like shots of them eating candy bars, donuts or eclairs, and drinking sugary orange juice. Now, I've said before that
you knew you were on hidden fat cam, and you're still walking around donut in hand. What are you doing? You're gonna lie to people, and then you think you're gonna get away with it when they slap a bunch of cameras in the house?
it is possible to lose weight while eating junk food, but because the sugar in candy bars and donuts is so addictive, it is very unlikely that you'll actually be able to eat at a calorie deficit while eating processed sugar. I think one of the best ways to control cravings while you're losing weight is to check the ingredients labels on your food and cut out all processed sugar and maybe mix that with a probiotic. That will make it way easier to resist overeating or binging. All right.
Probiotic helps kind of health. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know it would help hunger cravings. I need to get my ass on a probiotic.
Let's hear how many calories they actually ate.
You thought you were getting through around 1,560 calories a day. We recorded you getting through nearly 3,000 calories a day. Kelly, from your food diaries, you thought you were getting through around 2,280 calories a day. We recorded you getting through 3,650 calories.
15.
Damn, Kelly, you both were lying. You got more than her, too. So she just, I don't know, man. Something here way off. But both of them are way off on their calculations. But I just mean, they should have gained more weight in my eyes. Like, I don't see how they didn't gain more.
1,500 calories a day, Tracy actually ate double that, and her counterpart, Kelly, ate more than 1.5 times what she said she ate. They also caught Kelly drinking 2.5 liters of energy drinks in a 4 to 5 day period. This is the reality of how much obese people eat, and they were probably still on their best behavior for the show. With that in mind, let's get back to...
Right, you got to calculate that's them on a good day, too. So they're probably up around 4,000 in a day easy.
...the Australian show and move on to another fat acceptance advocate, Jennifer Lee. Now, allow me to apologize before I show this next clip, because I've shown this kind of thing a lot on my channel, but I just want to further stress how often this nonsense is said.
Julius, you're a fitness trainer. What do you think of Jenny and Dorothy being happy with their bodies?
I think that's fantastic. Are you healthy? Have you been to the doctors and they've told you that you're healthy?
Well, I think that's quite a loaded question because I don't think anyone here who's thin is going to be asked that. So I guess that's what I would say to that answer, that we
Jesus, we're gonna change your last name to Spank Spandex or whatever.
have to look as well at the assumptions that are made. And I would say you can't actually tell someone's lifestyle or health by looking at them.
Yes, you can. That is precisely why you guys don't like people asking questions about your health or poking around your lifestyle choices. It's because we can physically see that you aren't healthy. Plus, a major part of doctors assessing someone's health is by looking for what are called signs and symptoms. Doctors are
Yeah, I just tell everyone on the internet what I did like an idiot. But yeah, people can usually tell by just looking at you that you made some pretty bad choices.
taught to assess your health by looking at you. On top of that, you can absolutely determine things about people's lifestyle based on the way they look. Here's a picture of a guy who has a lot of muscle. The only way he can achieve this is if he exercises, which means
Might be a little steroids mixed in that one. He might have himself a special cocktail or something, but I usually just look at see if their veins are popping out like crazy to figure that out. At least that's what I've heard from bodybuilders.
I can look at him and determine that he does resistance training solely based on his appearance. So just know that fat acceptance advocates have been repeating this nonsense since at least 2013, and we know it's nonsense because Jennifer flat out refuses to talk about what she eats.
Julius asked you before, Jenny, what you ate, and you avoided the answer.
No, I answered the question differently.
But you're saying you're healthy. I want to know. Like,
no,
if you're healthy, I want to know.
I said that I wouldn't answer that question because I
Why?
felt
Why?
that a lot of thin people would not be asked that question. We're being
Because she's 100% one of them wiener wranglers too. She definitely ate her a couple of them chili dogs.
asked to justify an existence.
Well, I'll tell you what
And
I eat. I'm quite
will
comfortable to tell you what I eat every single day.
Whether a fat person's healthy or not is not necessarily the primary question that I think we should focus on the whole time here.
Spoken like
This is a world like masterclass in deflecting and not answering the question any way possible. You eat junk. Just own up to it. There's nothing wrong with saying you've made mistakes, you've done this, you've done that, and that you want to better yourself for the future. It's pretty easy just to say I effed up.
like a true addict. Addicts are excellent at dodging questions and shifting people's focus so that people don't question them on uncomfortable topics. So know that when you're dealing with any kind of addict and trying to get them help, it is important to stay focused on the main topic and not let them distract you with an irrelevant issue. The only real information we have on Jennifer's diet is this.
Have you tried to lose weight?
Oh, I tried for 20 years. I started formal dieting at 16 with Herbalife and then onto calorie counting, light and easy, Weight Watchers, all of those.
Herbalife? The pyramid scheme? I don't know if Herbalife still does.
Damn, you got wrapped into a fat pyramid scheme? I didn't even know that was a thing.
But back when I was in school, and during the time that this TV special was filmed, Herbalife was one of those scams where they pretend they are selling the product to the customer, but they're actually selling the product to the salesman and tricking those salespeople into thinking that they're entrepreneurs, when in actuality, they are the customer. It's the kind of company that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia parodied a bunch of years ago with their Invigoron episode.
I've never watched that show before, though.
So sign up for the Invigoron system today and take the first steps toward obtaining financial freedom. Invigoron, a business opportunity as rare as the Abani berries themselves. Now, Charlie and I have recently come into a rare business opportunity.
Damn, when I was a kid, I always thought I was going to get stuck in one of those things. That would be like my fat coffin right there.
And we were hoping you could clear a couple things up for us. Can you look at that?
It's a pyramid scheme.
That being said, you can tell that Jennifer Lee really does her research when it comes to learning how to eat healthy. She thinks that drinking a protein shake will make her thin. That's not what protein shakes are for. Protein shakes are to help you get your optimal protein intake when you're building muscle without getting a bunch of unwanted calories from fat and carbohydrates.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that much about that. I just know I try to get a protein shake in within like 30 minutes after lifting weights.
If you aren't bodybuilding, you don't need protein shakes. Also notice that they gaslight people by saying things like, I don't care about being in a bigger body, why do you care? No, clearly you do care because you're using euphemisms, and you said you spent 20 years trying to lose weight. You also said this.
Well, thinking back to then, I was beginning to get those feelings that I was disgusting and ugly. And I wrote in my journal when I was 16 that I feared that I had the most disgusting body in the world.
Okay, it's a self-esteem issue. Everyone doesn't like themselves when they're overweight or they look in the mirror. You could find the skinniest person in the room and there's going to be something they don't like about themselves. It's all right not to like something about yourself. You just have to be confident in who you are. And that's where I understand the fat acceptance message, where they're like, hey, we want to love ourselves no matter what. You can love yourself and try to improve yourself. Those two are not like mutually exclusive or anything like that.
Okay, so if you're overweight and don't like it, then the correct answer is to learn how to get healthy, not find excuses for why it's impossible to change. I think this guy says it best.
I wonder whether you think people shouldn't be big as some of the people in this room are. Do you think that's the case?
No, I think it's up to everybody to be as big as they want to be, but if you're not happy with your size, don't try and make excuses and reasons as to.
I don't think he's saying what he wants to say. He thinks that synchronized swimmer is going to belly flop on his balls or something if he really goes hard right here.
Why you are happy with your size when you're clearly, in your head, you're definitely not happy.
Right. Stop looking for reasons to not achieve the lifestyle that you clearly desire. But I think this next part is probably the highlight of all the nonsense that Jennifer says, which is where she tries to lie about the cost that obesity, morbid obesity, and severe morbid obesity have on the medical system, particularly in countries where the medical industry is completely socialized and everyone else is paying for the consequences of you eating fast food every day.
I think it frames fat as a drain on society. And my response is a lot of us work, a lot of us pay taxes,
I mean, you're really doing yourself a disservice. Like, I'm very aware of that. I have to come to terms with the fact that I threw some years away and I was just too big to be living a productive life. But they're not even that damn big yet, in my opinion, because I got so big, I wouldn't even call 400 big. That's how effed up my scale is.
We're not just a drain on society.
Wait, shouldn't it be all of you work? She's like, we aren't a drain on society. A handful of us have jobs and pay taxes. Now, excluding the people who eat so much that they can't leave their house, understand how this trick works. Jennifer is not a tax burden yet because she's still in her 30s. However, if she continues this pattern of unhealthy behavior, then she could easily cost the tax system 10 times what she put into it as she nears the end of her shortened life. Now,
Yeah, being morbidly obese is not exactly a friend of the elderly, I would say.
Every society is going to have some number of people who are dependents and simply can't do for themselves. For example, people with severe mental or physical disabilities. A healthy society will work to do what it can to decrease the number of people who can't fend for themselves. The issue is, though, that fat acceptance, as well as all the other woke shit, is taking perfectly capable people and turning them into expensive dependents that put a heavy drain on the system. I didn't show it, but the host of this show rightfully points out that it's okay for us to publicly shame smokers for their costs on the medical care system, and it's even appropriate for insurance companies to charge them more. But the second you bring up weight, that's when you're out of line.
Everyone can lose.
That's because everyone gets really offended when you start talking about their weight. Personally, I don't, but a lot of people struggle with that. So I kind of like how this guy he has this tell it like it is, the guy making the video. But a lot of people get really sensitive. You kind of have to tiptoe around that topic or you're going to upset somebody.
Lose weight. There's a simple equation. It's called energy in, energy out. If you're fat, you exercise, that's the energy out. And the energy in is the fat that you carry on your body. Everyone can lose weight. I know it's hard.
I didn't know I was a friggin' energy ball over here.
But the question was, are there people that can't lose weight? And the answer to that's no.
That's actually not true. Okay.
Oh no, how dare he say something true? Did you hear all the gasping in the audience when he said that? As I've said before, it's hard to fully blame these people, especially when there are a ton of health professionals like this next person who are out there not doing their job by teaching people proper weight loss technique, or they will just flat out lie to people about how unhealthy being obese is.
And I think, the message that's not getting out is that we actually don't need to lose weight to become healthy. I think we need to be focusing much more on health behaviours and helping people to have self-care.
So can you be fat and healthy?
Self-care is fine, all that, but your weight generally is going to be part of your health. Like, you could pass all the tests, whatever. I was 605 pounds. And I still passed most of the tests. Like, they were like, yeah, you're healthy, you're just extremely fat. But my life was nothing like what it should have been, and I wasn't living like a productive, healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely. I mean,
self-care, like not binge eating every day? Because if you're 500 pounds, you need to lose weight to be healthy. At the very least, you have to admit that this is a matter of scale, and no one who is 500, 600, or 1,000 pounds is healthy at that weight. Maybe you can gaslight people about 300 pounds, but certainly not 1,000 pounds. This psychologist has a number of horrible takes during this show, and this is why, and I think everybody should be careful about this, but this is why I personally am incredibly picky about who I allow to teach me or influence me with information. Because if you let the wrong people influence you, in the case of fat acceptance, it could easily cost you your life. Outside of
That's true. I was actually thinking about that the other day, and I was like, you know what? These parents should really get to know their like kids' teachers a lot better. Because think about it, if they're at work or whatever, the person spending the most time with your kid during the day while they're awake is their teacher. That's why a good teacher like could just change a kid's life, and I really do believe that. As somebody who tormented the hell out of teachers in his life, and they wanted to expel me, get rid of me all the time, I have a lot of respect for teachers. I think you guys deserve a hell of a lot more money.
fat acceptance, bad teachers will very often teach you the wrong information, and when it comes to skills you're building, especially job-related skills, a bad teacher can waste years of your time and really hurt your lifetime salary. Always be picky about who you allow to teach you. Ultimately, there are tons of people out there who have information about health or dieting that is flat out wrong because they get their health advice from mainstream news. The same
I mean, I'll try to take something from everybody, even if I disagree with you. I know that there's probably some truth in what you're saying, so you kind of just have to research things for yourself. It's not always that people are going to lie to you or have like a bad faith in what they're teaching you or whatever. But yeah, you definitely have to take everything with a grain of salt and kind of look into it for yourself, I would say.
mainstream news that is so bad at fact-checking that they will tell you dumb stuff like eating chocolate every day will make you lose weight. Also, another thing that's pointed out here, and I hope that more people learn this in the future, is
that probably was Mr. Beast's marketing campaign. I'm not Mr. Beast, I'm Mr. Obese, so I can only teach you how to get fatter.
Is that weight loss surgeries don't actually work.
I had a gastric band in 2007, and over the next 2.5 years, I lost around 50 kilos, probably 55.
Okay, and then you started to be able to eat again, and you started to put it back on probably, which is what happens to everybody. They get past the honeymoon stage, they start to think that they can get back in eating or whatever, and they start putting weight back on. I'm right at the over 2-year mark, and I am going to be damned if that happens to me.
Kilos. Then mine just basically stopped working, and I think I'd figured it out as well. I'd worked
How
it out.
would you figure it out? What do you mean?
Well, I'd worked it out. I'd worked how I could get food in that I wasn't meant to.
Yep. Eventually, most people who get weight loss surgery will figure out how to eat around the surgery. At that point, they will either...
It's not even eating around the surgery. It's you figure out that you can start putting in a little more. Your stomach's still pretty restrictive, but you'll start eating more often, and then next thing you know, your stomach starts to stretch little by little. If you don't stop the second you feel full, you will absolutely stretch it back out. So just make sure you kind of stick to a plan where you eat certain times in a day and you don't eat outside of that window, and I'd say you're kind of more in the safe zone.
Gain weight back or plateau permanently. The doctors will even tell you that when you get things like gastric bypass. So weight loss surgery doesn't really solve the underlying problem of addiction. It just sort of treats one of the symptoms very invasively. And the problem with stuff like this is that when you lie to people about how unhealthy obesity is, or when you teach them ineffective management techniques that end up not working, what you will eventually do is teach them to be helpless. Realistically,
I mean, I think getting the sleeve done for me was like a huge benefit because it taught me to eat healthier and about portions and this and that. And it absolutely has changed my life. But I get what he's trying to say with people plateauing or people thinking like, hey, I'm done, I've done this. And they just get like to this comfort zone where they're perfectly happy. And I'm not quite there yet.
You only have so many attempts at losing weight before you plain just give up and get the idea in your head that you'll never be able to lose weight like this person here.
Dorothy, describe your body for me.
Curvy, voluptuous, carefree, and just big and beautiful.
That sounded like a freaking ad for Spanx or something. It didn't sound like a body.
Have you always felt that way about it?
Not really, because I've always been quite thin, but I've just accepted the fact that this is my body now.
What she said there was really depressing. She was rightfully unhappy about the weight gain, but eventually gave up because it was too hard to lose weight. She tried everything except for the things that work, and because she failed after a number of attempts, she decided to accept that she's a failure instead of continuing to try to fix her health. This learned...
I mean, coming from a guy who's failed more times than he could count, you should never just give up. You always got to get up, keep pushing, keep trying anything. Don't be afraid to fail, because it at least means you're still trying and still going for something better.
Helplessness is one of the unfortunate realities of psychological well-being and self-improvement. If you fail too many times, you will give your brain all the evidence it needs to determine that you're a loser, and you'll stop trying. This applies to all skills. Fortunately, the flip side of this is true as well, and if you succeed a lot, you'll think you're unstoppable. And it doesn't matter how small the success...
Or you could just be delusional like me and think you're friggin' awesome even though you failed a bunch of times.
...is. You'll still get the psychological benefits of the victory. So it's very important that you do two things when you're new to anything. First, spend a lot of time researching and learning new information. That's easy because it's all on YouTube now. Second, and most importantly, keep your expectations low. When you're new to something, you have no idea what a reasonable amount of improvement is. You need experience to figure that out, and very often...
That's pretty sound advice, actually. Don't, aim for the stars, but a lot of people will say shoot for the stars so you land among, shoot for the moon so you land amongst the stars when you miss? I think that's the saying.
People's expectations are outrageous when they're new, like thinking they should be able to lose 50 pounds in 1 month. And when they inevitably don't achieve that...
That's exactly what Dr. Now tells people to do.
...goal because it's not possible, they'll feel like failures and give up. Keep your goals small when you start out. Like so small that maybe for the first week of fixing your eating habits, you simply try to not gain weight. Or maybe you just try to go 1 week without binge eating. Keep the goal small, and after you succeed and better know what expectations to have, you can make the goal progressively more difficult. So
that's pretty sound advice. A bunch of small goals will stack up and be something big. I like that. I like that from Think Before You Sleep.
So if you've tried to lose weight over and over and failed every time, or if you failed at learning any other skill after lots of attempts, know that it's still possible to succeed. If other people have done it, so can you. Figure out what they know. Most importantly, slow everything down. Do not go fast with this. Small changes over a long period of time is what will actually end up working. Anyway, thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter.
Alright, well, some pretty sound advice from this guy. I like him. He's kind of a blunt person. This is the first video I've ever actually watched from this guy. But it sounded like he had some pretty good advice sprinkled in throughout there. But I think the ability for us to, lie to ourselves or deny just how bad the situation has got is pretty common when you get to that super, morbidly obese category. But that chick saying she swam 1.5 miles and her last name being Drinkwater is just the craziest shit I ever heard. But alright guys, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what the hell you think about this one. But very interesting. I'll see y'all later. Peace.